The first signs of morning in a Roman domus, a household of a moderately wealthy Roman family, are not marked by sound, but by texture. A soft shift in the weight of the air, a gradual cooling of the night's stillness, as warm shadows ease apart and welcome the palest blue light filtering down from the open roof of the atrium, the compluvium. Here, in the heart of the house, air and sky meet inside stone. The compluvium is not covered. It's an intentional void in the ceiling, open to the heavens. Rain, when it comes, falls freely into the impluvium, the shallow marble basin below, but on most mornings it is not water that slips through, but light, and so it is. On this gentle day, sometime in the 2nd century A.D., that the household slowly stirs, the impluvium, still dark in the deepest part of night, begins to glow faintly. You might imagine yourself lying on a daybed in the tablinum, a room that opens directly onto the atrium. The walls are cool to the touch. The stone beneath your feet feels like pressed earth dense, ancient unmoving. At first, the air is filled only with faint creaks, the wood of the beams responding to the chill, a distant flutter of bird wings high above the city. Perhaps a servant passes quietly through the peristyle garden beyond, gathering herbs in the dim blue. There is no loud awakening, only rhythm. You sit upright, linen sheets, coarse by modern standards, but comfortable here, slip from your shoulders. You reach for your sandals, simple, worn leather, and tie them with practiced ease. To your right, a small oil lamp, having burned through much of the night, flickers with its last breath of flame. Its terracotta surface is still warm. You gently snuff it out with wetted fingers. From somewhere deeper in the house, the first real signs of motion begin. The familia, the household, includes not just the family itself, but several slaves, freedmen, and workers. Their day begins. Earlier than yours, a door closes with care, the distant clatter of amphora lids being lifted. The careful brush of broom bristles across the mosaic floors. You rise and walk barefoot through the tablinum to the atrium. As your foot crosses the threshold, the sound of a single drop of water falling into the impluvium echoes with unexpected clarity. Above, the sky is beginning to blush. Roman skies in summer are never truly dark, even in the depth of night, but in early morning they turn a pale rose-grey. You can see the first thin strands of golden light reaching across the open roof, gently brushing the painted columns that surround the atrium. Their faded red and white stripes seem to hum in the light. In one corner, a slave boy is kneeling beside a small brazier. He is warming olive oil over a low flame, preparing to bring it to the paterfamilias for his morning cleansing. The scent drifts lightly, earthy, pungent, rich with yesterday's heat. Your eyes trace the wall frescoes in the dim light, mythological scenes half forgotten. Bacchus in gentle repose, Diana. These images are not meant to be scrutinized in detail, but passed by daily, like companions. You approach the impluvium. Its water is clean, shallow, barely rippling. A single white feather, likely dropped from a pigeon above, floats on its surface. You dip a hand into the water. It's colder than expected, sharp with the memory of night. You bring your hand to your face, dabbing cheeks and temples. No rush. There is time. The atrium is now bathed in a soft, honey-colored glow. The sun, having climbed just a little higher above the rooftops of Rome, spills itself into the center of the house. The impluvium reflects the light upward, sending golden ripples dancing faintly along the painted walls and the undersides of the timber ceiling beams. The world is waking, but not suddenly. It begins with a broom. A young slave, no older than 12, moves quietly along the periphery of the atrium, his bare feet silent against the tile. He holds a palm broom worn and frayed from use, and carefully sweeps dust from the mosaic floor. His strokes are slow and deliberate, pushing tiny fragments of yesterday's traffic toward a clay basin placed discreetly against the wall. The only sound he makes is the gentle brush of bristles against stone. You remain still, perhaps seated on a low wooden bench carved in a style borrowed from Etruscan tradition, curved arms, feet shaped like lion paws. The bench creaks softly beneath you as you shift your weight. The creak seems loud in the otherwise delicate silence of morning, and so you still yourself again, as if in reverence. In the tablinum, the open room between the atrium and peristyle, another household member is performing their own ritual. A freed woman, elderly but precise in movement, prepares a small wooden writing desk for the day. She carries a stylus made of bone, a few wax tablets stacked neatly. She will not write anything just yet. For now, she simply arranges the tools. They must be in the correct place, aligned with care, ready for when they are needed. There is a sacredness in this order. From deeper in the house comes the first sound of voices. Quiet, indistinct, perhaps the murmured Latin of two slaves exchanging notes on the day's tasks. The tone is respectful, hushed, more like a chant than conversation. You hear footsteps, 2 sets. One is slow and soft, bare feet, walking without urgency. The other is quicker, more purposeful, sandals striking against stone. It is the pater familias, followed by his young body servant. The master walks with his hands behind his back, surveying the atrium as though seeing it for the first time. He glances at the impluvium, checks the corners for dust, notes the lamp niches in the wall. His eyes settle on a bronze figurine of Mercury, a household god perched on a plinth near the lararium, the family shrine. He nods once, and the boy behind him steps forward to tend to the shrine. It is part of their morning ritual. The boy places a pinch of incense on a small dish of coals, and the scent, sharp, woody, and faintly sweet, begins to fill the room. Smoke curls lazily upward toward the open roof. In the corner of the atrium, a door opens. Hinges groan, not harshly, but with the wooden sigh of old architecture. A woman steps out, the matrona, the lady of the house. Her hair is pinned, not yet in its full formal coils, and she wears a simple star. Her sandals are soft leather, dyed pale yellow. She does not speak. She crosses the atrium with dignity, passing through the filtered light like a figure on a painted vase. She disappears down a corridor toward the peristyle, likely heading for the small garden where she will inspect the herbs. These are not grand events. There is no spectacle. But in their repetition, in the quiet rhythm of them, there is comfort. A Roman domus was a world unto itself. Its inhabitants moved like planets in miniature orbit, each with predictable rituals, with roles silently rehearsed across generations. A servant appears at your elbow with a basin of water. He kneels and offers it to you, not directly, but with head bowed, arms extended. The basin is bronze, its surface dimpled with age, and the water inside is cool. You wash your hands and face slowly, not to cleanse deeply, that will come later, but to greet the day with presents. Another servant, this one older, her hair tied in a scarf, is lighting a brazier in the corner of the tablinum. She is preparing to heat water for mixing with wine later in the morning. She works methodically, placing kindling in a small pyramid, blowing gently until the first whisper of flame flickers to life. She does not speak. Her eyes are fixed on the fire, her lips pressed into the shape of a silent hymn. Beyond the peristyle, you hear the sound of a millstone turning. The cook has begun grinding grain for the mid-morning meal, perhaps barley, perhaps spelt. The sound is deep and circular, the rhythmic song of labor, stone against stone. Grain crushed and softened into the flour that will become flatbread, porridge, or perhaps a honey-sweetened cake. In the distance, outside the walls of the Domus, the city has begun to speak. A fruit vendor calls from a nearby street corner, not loudly, but in a long, drawn-out voice designed to float over walls and through courtyards. His song is familiar, the same tune every morning, selling apricots, apples, green figs. A mule brays somewhere beyond the walls. Then silence. The Domus absorbs these distant notes like a stone amphora draws in water. They become part of the day's tapestry, stitched alongside the more domestic sounds, the careful stirring of ashes, the gentle opening of drawers, the soft snap of fabric as it is folded. You watch as a servant folds a tunic, white linen, recently washed, and places it neatly in a cedarwood chest. The chest creaks as it opens and closes. The scent of the wood drifts upward, warm, sharp, protective. The Romans used cedar to repel moths, but also for its comforting smell. Somewhere nearby, a young girl, a daughter, or perhaps a servant's child, plays with a wax doll. The doll is simple, jointed, carved with care. The girl hums a song to herself. It is tuneless, hypnotic, half-forgotten, a melody passed down from nurse to child, and then to another child, and another for generations. Her voice fades as she moves toward the back rooms. The paterfamilias has returned to the lararium. He stands still before the shrine, places his hand on his chest, then lifts it briefly to his forehead. He does not pray with words. The gesture itself is the prayer, a reminder of duty, of stability, of home. The incense burns lower. The flame on the brazier curls higher. There is no rush. Time here feels elastic. Every act, every movement belongs to the day's unfolding. No moment is wasted. No gesture is too small to matter. You close your eyes and listen. A broom sweeps once more across tile. A bird calls from the compluvium rim. A pot lid settles gently on stone. A sandal strap is tied. A page of a scroll rustles as it is opened. A sigh, human, familiar, breaks the silence, then disappears again, and so the house breathes. The first true meal of the day, the entaculum, was never meant to impress. Unlike the lavish banquets of the evening, the Roman breakfast was a private thing, not ostentatious, not performed. It happened in silence or in soft conversation. It welcomed the day gently, like a warm cloth pressed to the face. You find yourself seated now in the tablinum, a semi-open room just beyond the atrium, facing the light. This space serves many purposes. In official hours, it is the domain of the paterfamilias, where guests and clients are received. But now, in the softness of morning, it is a resting place open to the house, open to the air, open to the stillness. The table before you is simple. Wooden, handcrafted, no tablecloths, no cutlery, not yet. Romans did not eat with forks. They used their hands, sometimes knives. They used small spoons, often made of bone or bronze. But here, this morning, you'll use only what is needed. On the table lies a small ceramic dish, glazed though faded. Inside it, olives, some green, some black. Their skins are wrinkled, their flesh soaked. In brine and oil there is cheese, to a firm slice of pecorino, rough on the tongue, lightly salted. A bit of honey glistens nearby in a shallow bowl, golden and thick, still clinging to the clay. A round of flatbread sits at the center, slightly charred at the edges. It was baked earlier this morning by a kitchen slave who kneaded the dough. Before the sky had fully lightened, you tear it by hand. The inside is soft. Steam escapes. There is fruit, of course. Always fruit. This morning, a small bowl of figs, still fresh. Their skins are soft, the insides blushing red. One has already split, revealing its seeds like a secret offered without shame. And there is barley porridge, called pools. A humble, steaming mound, seasoned lightly with herbs and a dash of garum, that fermented fish sauce so beloved and so feared. Its smell is unfamiliar to modern noses. But to Roman ones it means home. The room is filled with the light of morning. Not direct, the tablinum is covered, but it glows from both sides. The atrium before you, the peristyle garden behind. Columns line both frames like the ribs of a breathing animal. A light breeze stirs the leaves in the courtyard. You hear the soft flutter of birds dipping into the impluvium to drink. You lift a spoonful of porridge and taste it slowly. It is coarse, not unpleasant. The barley is nutty. The herbs, perhaps thyme, perhaps rue, leave a gentle bitterness. On the tongue you take a sip of watered wine, cool and faintly sweet. It has been diluted with snowmalt, carried from the Apennines in earthen jars and stored in the cellar beneath the house. There is no rush, no schedule presses you forward, no horn signals your commute. You have time. The food is not hurried, and neither are you. The paterfamilias sits nearby, reclining slightly on a padded bench. He eats in silence. A servant kneels behind him, massaging his shoulders as he chews. His eyes are fixed not on the food, but on the impluvium's reflections dancing along the far wall. The matrona, too, has joined. She carries a small ceramic cup of warm milk steeped with crushed almonds. Her fingers long, knotted with the early signs of age, wrap delicately around the vessel's curve. She dips her bread lightly, bites, chews. She closes her eyes. Nearby, two children, a boy and a girl, eat with more movement. They are quiet, as expected, but curious. The girl picks the seeds from her fig with delicate fingers. The boy tries to balance an olive pit on the edge of his spoon. His sister giggles, covering her mouth. Their mother glances, gives the faintest of nods, and they return to stillness. There is comfort in this daily sameness. It is not the variety of the food that delights. It is the familiarity. Each element of the meal is predictable. The olives, the bread, the cheese. It is not what they eat, but how, calmly, communally, with care. Every crumb shared is a thread. In the great woven fabric of routine, a slave girl passes with a bronze pitcher. She pours wine into small clay cups, held out in silence. She does not speak. The water, mixing with wine, creates a deep, ruby swirl. It catches the morning light and glows for a moment like flame dot in one corner. Another servant is gently playing a double pipe. An aloes, its music is soft, reedy, almost plaintive. Not for entertainment, but to calm the atmosphere. A Roman breakfast was not only a physical act, it was a mental one. A time to steady the self, to enter the day with balance. The music drifts. You sip more wine. The porridge is gone. You break another piece of bread. There is no need to fill silence. Silence is welcome here. The tablinum smells now of warmed cheese, honey, soft herbs, and the faint musk of terracotta warmed by sun. The walls, painted in red and gold bands, absorb the light and reflect it inward, as though the room glows from within. A small bronze bell chimes somewhere deep in the house. One note, soft and round. It signals that the slaves are to begin. Clearing the breakfast, the girl with the almond milk finishes the last drop and hands her cup to a waiting hand. The children rise, excused without words. You linger. This is not a meal you must finish. This is a meal that finishes you gently. Silently, with grace, the Matrona touches your shoulder as she passes, a gesture of approval, or perhaps a reminder that the day, even here, even softly, must go on. You watch as the flatbread is gathered, the dishes lifted one by one. The girl with the pitcher returns the wine to its jar. She places a lid upon it. Her hands are small, but steady. She has done this each morning for years. She will do it tomorrow. The pater familias rises last. He nods toward the peristyle and begins walking. The air behind him swells faintly, a suggestion of his movement. He disappears through the curtain that separates the living quarters from the garden. You remain. There is still light. There is still quiet. The tablinum has returned to stillness. The table is empty now. The fruit bowl bears only a stem. The cheese dish has a small rind left behind. The honey is gone. Only the sound of the fountain remains, a slow, circular whisper of water falling, echoing through the atrium and into the corners of the house. And so breakfast ends, not with a bang, not with a scrape of chairs or clang of forks, but with a breath and then a silence. The cubicula, the sleeping chambers, are not lively rooms. They are not meant to be. They are quiet by design, shaded, small, self-contained. But in the stillness of the morning's second act, they take on a gentle rhythm of their own. Not loud, never rushed, but purposeful. The air inside is cool. Walls thick with plaster and stone keep out the rising warmth of the Roman day. A linen curtain, tied loosely, drapes across the entrance. When it moves, it whispers. You step inside. The room is sparse. By modern standards, there is a bed, its frame low and made of wood, with tightly stretched leather straps crisscrossing beneath. The mattress of hay and wool. Upon it rests a folded blanket, coarse but clean. Two pillows, slightly flattened from use, lean together like resting doves. To one side sits a small chest, cedar, perhaps, or pine. It holds garments, folded tunics, spare sandals, a scarf, dyed in faded indigo. On top rests a hair comb carved from bone, its teeth fine, worn from years of gentle use. A wax tablet lies on the bed. You pick it up. Its surface has been smoothed recently, the old writing erased with the flat side of a stylus. There's a faint residue left behind, echoes of someone's words. A draft of a letter, perhaps, a shopping list, a copied line of poetry. You run a finger along the surface, feeling its warmth. From the corner of the room, a woman sits cross-legged on a stool. She's mending a tunic. Her needle is bone. Her thread is linen, slightly frayed. The tunic's hem has come. Undone, not torn, simply weary from use. Her fingers move slowly, rhythmically. In, out, pull. Tie dot, she does not hum. She does not speak. The only sound is the gentle scratch of thread and the occasional creak of the stool beneath her dot. This is a different kind of labor, not the kind done in workshops or under the sun, but within the house's lungs, where silence carries more meaning than words. Elsewhere, another servant tends to the oil lamps. Each morning they are inspected. She holds one now, terracotta, shaped like a leaf. The flame has long gone out. She empties its bowl, wipes it with a cloth dipped in vinegar and water. Then she refills it with fresh oil, thick yellow gold, pressed from olives harvested last autumn. A new wick is twisted from flax fibers and laid gently into place. She lights it, tests it. The flame dances, small but steady. She smiles faintly. It will be ready for nightfall. A young boy, no more than 8, enters quietly. He carries a stack of scrolls bound loosely with twine. His task today is to dust them. He kneels beside a low shelf where the family's modest library is kept. A few works of Cicero, selections from Virgil, some lesser-known poets whose names have already begun to fade from memory. He unties the scrolls one by one, gently unrolling the papyrus a handspan at a time. Then, brushing each surface with a cloth made of lamb's wool, he does not read. He is not yet allowed. But he handles them with reverence. Outside the cubiculum, in the hallway, someone is boiling water in a bronze pot over a small brazier. You can hear the bubbling. The scent of rosemary, tossed in moments before, rides the steam into the room. A sharp, clean smell, cut with smoke. A young woman enters. She brings with her a small vase, plain but elegant. She fills it with the hot water, then adds a bundle of herbs wrapped in linen. It is a facial steam for the matrona part of her mid-morning grooming. The vase is placed on a low stool. She departs as quietly as she came, and still the room is not busy. There is no sense of rush. Each action, the mending, the tending, the dusting, unfolds in its own time, without pressure. In the far corner, behind a thin curtain, sits the lararium of the cubicula, a smaller shrine than the one in the atrium, but no less sacred. A few figurines, lares, household gods, stand watch in miniature niches. A servant kneels before them. He offers a pinch of grain, a drop of wine, a moment of silence. His prayer is not spoken aloud. It is felt, heard only in the heart. A low breeze stirs through the curtain. The room cools slightly. The candle flame wavers. The robe on the stool shifts, almost as if the room itself has exhaled. You return to the wax tablet. You sit on the edge of the bed. Take the stylus in hand and begin to write. Not a message, just a few lines, a list, a name, a memory. The wax yields under your touch. It resists slightly, then gives way. It feels both primitive and precise. You pause between strokes. You think, this room is not only for sleeping, it is for reflection, for care, for unhurried maintenance of self and space. The woman has finished her mending. She folds the tunic, sets it beside the chest. She stands, stretches, and leaves. The boy with the scrolls finishes his task, retying each one and placing them gently back on the shelf. His small hands move with practiced care. The servant at the shrine completes his offering. He bows once, stands and straightens the corner of a nearby blanket. Then he, too, disappears into the hush of the hallway, and once more you are alone. You lie back onto the bed. The mattress creaks softly under your weight. The pillow conforms to your head. Above you, the ceiling is plain, whitewashed, smooth, unadorned, but light from the impluvium filters through the curtain and dances across it in waves. You listen. Outside, the sound of a broom brushing the peristyle tiles, the clink of pottery being sorted in the kitchen, a dove cooing softly from the garden wall, your own breathing, slow and even. You close your eyes, not to sleep, just to rest, and the cubiculum, this small, sacred room, holds you like a shell holds a pearl safe, quiet, still. The Roman day is built around its heat. By the time the sun reaches its peak in the sky, when shadows grow short and the tiles of the roof begin to radiate warmth back into the air, the Domus changes its rhythm. It does not stop entirely. It simply slows, folding in on itself like a flower retreating from the sun. The impluvium at the center of the atrium becomes the house's beating heart. Its water, shaded from above and cooled by night, remains fresh even in the heat of midday. The breeze that moves through the compluvium, the open skylight above, brings air down into the home, circulating across stone floors, through linen drapes, between clay walls. You sit near the impluvium now, the sound of water, gentle, rhythmic, not insistent, fills the space like breath. A light breeze causes the surface to ripple, catching stray beams of sun and tossing them across the walls like drifting silk around you. The house has softened. The tablinum, once bright and bustling in the morning, is now subdued. A curtain has been drawn across its opening to block the sun's glare. Beyond it, in the peristyle garden, the trees stand heavy with summer. Myrtle bay, a small fig tree leaning slightly, its shadow wavering on the gravel path. A servant walks slowly through the garden, watering the herbs. She wears a wide-brimmed straw hat to shield her from the sun. The amphora in her arms glugs gently with every step. Her feet move in practiced arcs, careful not to splash, careful not to disturb the stones. Elsewhere, in the cubicula, the family is lying down, not sleeping, exactly resting. The siesta or meridiatio is a sacred pause in the Roman household. Even the city outside quiets, streets empty, markets slow. A blanket of stillness falls across tiled roofs and marble columns. It is too hot to work, too hot to argue, too hot to do anything but yield. You walk the length of the atrium barefoot. The tiles are warm but not unpleasant. Your steps echo softly between the walls. At the threshold of the peristyle, you pause. The garden is quiet. A single cicada hums somewhere unseen. Its drone rises and falls like a mantra. The air smells of warm earth, rosemary, and the faintest trace of sweet. Fermenting figs, you lie on a couch in the exedra, a small recess that opens onto the garden. The couch is covered in soft linen, its cushions plump with feathers. You settle into it slowly. There is no hurry. To your right, a low table holds a ceramic pitcher of water and a cup carved from onyx. You pour yourself a drink. The water is cool, faintly scented with mint. You sip. You close your eyes. The breeze finds you. It is not strong, not like the winds that race down the coast near Ostia or howl through the mountains. This is an interior wind, a breath made by clever hands, the open compluvium drawing warm air up and fresh air down, architecture as ventilation, design as comfort. The sound of footsteps passes behind you. A young boy, a servant, tiptoes across the peristyle with a tray of folded cloths. He is carrying fresh towels for those resting in the cubicula. He glances at you, but says nothing. His passage is as silent as wind moving through leaves. You open your eyes. The fig tree's leaves shift slightly in the breeze. One falls slowly, gently, spinning end over end until it lands near the foot of the column. No one moves to retrieve it. This is the time of day when Romans most resemble their statues, still, thoughtful, inward. The world outside continues. Its noise, horses in the forum, the clatter of carts, the bark of traders. But here, within the Domus, the noise is refused entry. The matrona lies in her cubiculum behind a partially drawn curtain. A wet cloth rests across her forehead. The room is dim. A servant fans her slowly with a palm frond. The fan makes no sound, but moves the air just enough to stir the edge of the sheet. In another room, the paterfamilias sits on a couch with a scroll in his lap. He does not read, he simply holds it, unfurled slightly, his eyes watching the wall, thinking, perhaps, remembering on the floor nearby. A cat sleeps. It is curled tightly into itself, its paws tucked beneath its belly. The tip of its tail twitches. Once, then stillness. Even animals understand this hour. The sun continues its slow march. Its light has shifted now, creeping along the far walls of the atrium. The columns cast long, diagonal shadows. The air feels heavier, but not oppressive. It's the heaviness of deep calm, of suspended motion. You rise and walk once more to the impluvium. The water has warmed slightly. You kneel and trail your fingers across its surface. The ripples spread, reaching the edges of the marble basin, bouncing back in quiet waves. A dragonfly hovers for a moment, then darts away, from above. A faint creak. A pigeon has landed on the rim of the compluvium, peering inside. It blinks once, then flies on. A breeze lifts again, and the curtains ripple like sails. Dust motes shimmer in the light. The entire atrium seems to pulse with quiet life, and still. No one speaks. Words would feel out of place here, too sharp, too sudden. The day has settled into its bones. You stretch, you recline once more. The cup is empty. The air is still, and in that stillness the house holds you, not like a cage, but like a cradle. In the late hours of the Roman afternoon, time turns again. It does not rush. It rolls forward like a breeze returning to the garden, brushing the curtain with one long hand and gently tugging it open. Light, which had hidden itself behind walls and columns all midday, now begins to peek into every corner, stretching shadows, long and golden dot in the colina. The household kitchen, the day's final transformation, is already underway. This is not a grand kitchen. It is small, functional, tucked in the back corner of the Domus, often near the garden or servants' quarters. The hearth is raised. On it, a clay pot simmers slowly, steam rising in wisps through the chimney hole above. Inside, a lentil stew, thick with onions, garlic, and bits of cured pork. A young cook, arms powdered with flour, kneads dough on a wooden slab. The bread he prepares, a flat, round loaf, is meant for tonight's supper. He does not hum. His rhythm is audible. Slap, press, turn, the soft thud of heel against dough. Nearby, another slave crushes herbs in a stone mortar, basil, lovage, and a little mint, their scent drifting upward as a green perfume. The house begins to fill. The paterfamilias is shaving. He stands near a bronze mirror, its surface warped with age. He draws a bone-handled razor across his cheek with care, dipping it into warm water after each stroke. Behind him, a slave holds a cloth, folded neatly. In his hands, ready to press to the jaw when finished, the matroness sits on a stool as her hair is combed. The slave girl who tends her has done this many times before, dividing the hair into sections, braiding the outer coils, tucking pins of bone and bronze into place. They do not speak, but the older woman's face is serene. Her hand rests on the girl's arm, a silent gesture of approval. In the triclinium, the dining room preparations begin. This is a space designed for recline. 3 couches form a U-shape around a central table, each one draped in clean linen. Pillows are fluffed and refluffed, their seams plucked until they lie just right. The table is wiped with a damp cloth. Dishes are placed, ceramic and bronze, no two alike. A bowl of dates is set near the head couch, a small plate of olives beside it. A slave sets the wine, and laid carefully at the corner of the room, tilted into a stand. The wine will be watered, gently stirred with a wooden ladle. It is red, deep, and earthy, aged in clay beneath the house. Nearby, another amphora holds snow, shaved from blocks carried down from the mountains and stored in deep cellar pits. The snow is now half melted, wrapped in linen to delay the inevitable. You walk slowly toward the triclinium. Your feet are bare, your clothes light. You pass the tablinum, where the late light gleams off scrolls and polished floors. In the atrium, the impluvium catches the sky once more, but this time in warm amber, not morning blue. The sound of food fills the air. The stew has thickened. The bread is now baking on a hot stone, its scent curling through the hallway. Garum, that pungent, fermented sauce, has been added to a bowl of chopped vegetables. Its aroma cuts through everything, sharp, briny, unmistakably Roman, and yet none of this is hurried. The house does not bustle. It prepares slowly, reverently, as if setting the stage for something sacred. The children, freshly bathed, enter first. Their tunics are clean, their faces still flushed from the warmth of the water. They take their places on the smallest couch, giggling once, then falling silent at their mother's glance. The matrona enters next. She reclines with practiced ease, her expression composed. Her braided hair gleams in the firelight from the nearby brazier. A bowl of olives is placed at her elbow. Then the pater. He arrives last. He takes the head couch. A servant places a small table before him. The first dish is served. Warm bread with oil and herbs, slightly charred, split by hand and passed to each guest in turn. You recline as well. A servant offers a basin and a towel for hand washing. The water is scented, perhaps with lavender or lemon balm. You dry your hands and settle in. The courses arrive gradually. Pull's barley porridge with cheese and wild greens, boiled eggs sprinkled with ground pepper, broad beans simmered with fennel, lentil stew served steaming in clay bowls, salt fish flaked and set atop flatbread, honeyed dates stuffed with walnuts, all in modest portions, all shared, no silverware, fingers and spoons, breads used to scoop, wine poured into shallow cups, mixed with snow and spring water, passed hand to hand. Conversation is soft, not formal, familial. The children speak quietly, asked what they read that day. The matrona recounts the growth of her garden herbs. The paterfamilias tells a short, humorous tale, a memory of a stubborn mule in the forum, which prompts a smile from the oldest child and a chuckle from a servant in the corner. The evening continues like this, not fast, not festive, but full. From the peristyle the garden rustles. Night birds begin their calls. Somewhere a door closes gently. A dog barks once in the distance, then is quiet. The final course is fruit. Figs, split and drizzled with honey. Apples, sliced and served chilled from a ceramic bowl. Pears, poached gently in wine. The last sip of wine is taken. The cups are wiped and placed aside. The bread is gone. A bowl of water is brought for hand rinsing. Towels passed once more. The matrona rises first, her robe drawn close with a sash. The children follow, yawning slightly. The paterfamilias nods, signaling that the meal has ended, and the triclinium, once glowing with laughter and food, begins. To dim dot, the fire in the brazier crackles. The dishes are cleared, carried silently to the kitchen. A servant lingers, adjusting the pillows, straightening the table. The oil lamps, now burning low, are trimmed for the evening hours. You remain for a moment, still reclined, still warm from wine and bread. Your eyes drift toward the lamp. The flame dances, casting shadows on the frescoes, scenes of Dionysus and vine leaves painted long ago. You sigh, full, not only with food, but with stillness. And as the house turns toward night, it does so not with exhaustion, but with grace. Evening has fully arrived. The last embers in the brazier flicker softly, their light more golden than red now. Outside the walls of the house, the sky has turned to slate, streaked with silver. Distant sounds, carts rolling over stone, the cry of a night vendor, the faint clatter of sandals on a road are all fading into hush dot inside the Domus. The rhythm of life slows further still. The family has left the triclinium, their footsteps. Padding softly down the hallway, sandals in hand, there is no rush, no instruction. Each person moves through the dusk as if guided by memory. The slaves clear away. the final remnants of supper, breadcrumbs are swept from the floor, platters are lifted one by one and stacked carefully. Clay cups are rinsed with cold water and left to dry near the hearth. A servant ladles the last spoonful of lentil stew into a clay bowl saved for tomorrow and covers it with a linen cloth. You walk the length of the peristyle, the garden dark now, but not invisible. The moonlight filters through its canopy. Of leaves, myrtle, fig, and laurel trees shift gently in the breeze. A single lamp swings from a bronze hook on one column, its tiny flame swaying. It casts soft patterns on the paving stones, circles, ovals, long thin shadows like vines drawn in ink. From the garden path, you can see the small household library. It is not a large room, barely more than a nook, tucked into the side of the... But inside, a few scrolls lie unrolled, weighted with small stones. A young girl kneels before one, her finger tracing a line of verse. She is not reading aloud. She reads with her breath. A servant nearby tends a lamp. The wick has burned low and must be replaced. She pinches the flame gently between wet fingers, removes the old flax, and threads in the new. She uses a long brass taper to relight it from another flame borrowed, not reborn. In the atrium. The impluvium reflects the stars now. Not many. Rome is bright with torches and braziers, but enough to shimmer faintly on the water's surface. The stone basin, which caught morning light and midday breeze, now holds the night itself. A breeze from the compluvium slides downward, stirring the water. It is as though the sky itself is breathing inside the home. You sit on the edge of the basin. The stone is cool now. Beneath your hand, the marble is smooth from centuries of touch. A servant brings you a cloak, light wool, worn soft by many evenings, and you wrap it around your shoulders. You watch as the oil lamps are lit, one by one. Each corner of the house has its own. In the hallways, on wall brackets, in the tablinum atop a writing desk, in the cubiculum beside each bed. Each lamp is different, one shaped like a dolphin, another plain and undecorated. Some are carved with patterns, others stained with years of soot. They are all lit in silence. One by one, the flames bloom into life. Small, steady, unwavering, the paterfamilias returns to the lararium, the family shrine. He places a drop of wine on the small stone altar, then bows his head. No words are spoken. The household gods, the lares, are thanked not with requests, but with acknowledgment. The day is ending. The house has held. All has been enough. You walk slowly to the cubicula. Inside, the beds have been made. Linen sheets smoothed, pillows fluffed. A basin of water sits near the door for washing. Clean, cold, scented with bay leaves. A towel hangs nearby, dry and neatly folded. You wash your face, letting the chill of the water bring a quiet clarity. Then you dry your hands and undress, folding your tunic and placing it at the foot of the bed. You lie down. The mattress conforms to your weight. Wool and straw shifting gently beneath. The pillow is soft, your head sinking slightly into it. The blanket is warm. You draw it over your body, leaving one arm free. A single oil lamp burns in the room. It flickers faintly, casting long shadows up the wall. Its light is not bright, just enough to see, not enough to stay awake. The flame wavers once, then steadies, and in that moment everything stills. From another room you hear the sound of scrolls being tied with twine. A mother's voice, low and soothing, telling a story to her youngest child, something about the sea, or a fox, or a pair of stars that chase each other across the sky in the courtyard. A cat moves softly across the stones, pausing at the edge of the impluvium to drink. The water ripples, then stills, far above. The stars turn, you close your eyes, and the Domus, this Roman house, so full of structure, of space, of memory, becomes not merely a shelter, but a lullaby. Its walls hum softly with the day that has passed. Its roof breathes with the wind. Its heart, the still water beneath the open sky, beats slowly, steadily, as the city outside sleeps. You do not think of tomorrow. There is no tomorrow yet. There is only the lamp, the breath, the cloak, and the stars. And then, finally, the lamp is extinguished, and everything else is silence. There is a moment just before true sleep comes, when the edges of the world begin to blur. You are still awake, technically. Your eyes are closed, your body is still, but your awareness loosens like a boat pulling gently from its mooring, drifting slowly into deeper waters. This is where the Roman house exists now, no longer a place of tasks or meals or gatherings, but a vessel floating in silence. Within the cubicula, the walls feel thicker. Somehow they do not close in, they protect. They hold the darkness in a soft embrace. The oil lamp has been extinguished, its smoke still lingers, faintly a thread curling toward the ceiling, now invisible in the dark. The wick has burned to its end. The clay vessel remains warm to the touch, even as the flame has passed. The bed supports you. It does not invite movement. It invites surrender. Wool, straw, linen, natural textures that recall the earth. The pillow cradles the head. The blanket, not heavy, but certain, creates a gentle boundary between the self and the night. You hear the soft breath of someone sleeping in the room beside you. It could be a sibling, a servant, a spouse. Their presence is unspoken, but it steadies the space. Their rhythm joins yours, and together your sleep begins to take root. Like vines settling into soil. Outside, the wind has settled. The curtain at the doorway no longer stirs. The stars, now high above the compluvium, shine faintly, but you do not need to see them. You feel them in the stillness. The sky is watching. The house is sealed, all through the Domus. Night has descended. The lararium rests in silence. Its figurines darkened now, the incense long extinguished. The offering bowl still holds its wine. No one will touch it until morning. The Lares, the household spirits, remain at their post, quiet, present, unseen. In the peristyle, the fig tree leans slightly in its sleep. Its branches do not move. A small amphora, left by a servant, rests at the base of a column, half full of water. A cat has curled beside it, tucked tightly into its own warmth. Even the impluvium, so alive by day, has fallen still. Its surface, once alive with light and movement, now mirrors only shadow. The occasional ripple breaks its calm, sent down from the sky, a sigh of breeze, or the brush of a moth's wing. But otherwise it is a pool of ink waiting for dawn, and the house holds its silence. There are no voices now, no footsteps. Number utensils, no splashing, no song. The Domus breathes as one, long, deep, slow. You lie in this darkness, wrapped in the hush dot. There is nothing more to do, nothing to remember. The scrolls are closed, the lamps are trimmed, the doors are locked. This world of plaster and tile, of marble and clay, of herbs and oil and soft sandals, it lives, for now, only in your breath, and that breath is slowing. One inhale, one exhale, another and another. Like waves folding into shore, there is a sweetness to this hour. No regrets, no anticipation, just rest. Perhaps, far away in another part of the city, a lyre plays, a single chord, low and slow. Perhaps a neighbor's lamp is still lit, but it does not reach you. You are folded in too deeply. Even the gods, it is said, sleep. Even Jupiter closes his eyes when the stars have sung long enough. Even Venus dreams, and so you too. Dream. You may dream of the fig tree, swaying in the peristyle. You may dream of the lamp, its warm glow pulsing like a heartbeat. You may dream of footsteps on marble, or of scrolls, unrolling with lines of verse that you've never read, but know by heart. Or perhaps no dreams at all, perhaps only rest, a long velvet stillness that holds you like the Domus holds its silence, not with force, but with love. In this sleep, you are not in the 21st century. You are not anywhere with a name. You are beneath a Roman roof, on a Roman night, in a Roman bed, and you are safe, and you are still, and now the Domus sleeps, and now the Domus sleeps, and now you do too.